We're especially pleased to have our distinguished mayor here. Thank you for supporting this project. And the Kaiser family and everyone else from Utah Paperbox, thank you for joining us today. I'm Rob Fetzer. I'm the president and chief operating officer of PEG Companies. I'm pleased to open this up. We're going to have a few speakers, and then we're actually going to do demolition for a groundbreaking. So it's a little ironic. We built a new wall, and we're going to tear it down. Just want to let you know a little bit about how this deal came together. About 5 years ago, we were developing the property to the north. Those two hotels that you see, they're wonderful and gorgeous. Go visit them, go stay in them. And we identified this site as one that would make a great opportunity to continue our development of this block. So we went in and we met with the RDA staff and said, hey, we'd love to buy that property. And they said, well, we don't know what we're going to do with it yet. We're doing our studies. Unbeknownst to us, Micah Peters, who was developing the property to the south, he did some amazing apartments, condominiums over there, was also in meeting with the RDA and letting them know, hey, he would like to develop that property. Over the course of several months and several meetings, the staff came back and said, we'd like you to put proposals together and we'll compare them and we'll pick the very best one. So we went to Micah and got together and said, what could we do if we joint ventured this project? Could we bring more to the table than just a single developer developing one site? Because we own the property to the north, we own the property to the south. Can we meet the requirements of the RDA and put together something that's even better because we can tie it all throughout? So we joint ventured. Micah has been a great co-developer with us. We love his passion and his vision, and you'll hear a little bit from Micah in a few minutes. And we put together this proposal that met the RDA needs. The RDA came out and said, we want to create affordable housing. This was under the mayor's vision to add affordable housing units to Salt Lake. And we also wanted to have a space for public gathering in the middle of the site. They wanted a visual, and they wanted pedestrian access and vehicular access. And it carved up this tiny little narrow site in the middle of a block, multiple ways. So we partnered with VCBO. We want to thank them and all of their consultants. Helped us put together a proposal that met all of those requirements. And together, collaborating, we've created something that we're really proud of in Paperbox Lofts. You know, when PEG starts a project, we nickname it. It has something to do with the site, it has to do with the physical location or the building or the history. And in this case, it became Paperbox Apartments. That was, a natural. That's what was here. And over the course of development, we'll rename it multiple times. It drives our accountants absolutely crazy because they can't keep track of the money. But in this case, when we sat down and met and said, what should we name this property? After we had been through years of development and design and approvals, we kept coming back to the Paperbox name and the history and the legacy of that manufacturing facility, the jobs that it provided here. And we're especially grateful to the Kaiser family for allowing us to keep that name and remember their legacy. We're excited now to hear from Paul and Steve Kaiser, and I want to invite them up. They're going to talk a little bit about their business and the history that they had. Following the Kaisers, we'll hear from Mayor Biskupski. She'll talk a little bit about the vision of downtown and her vision as mayor. After the mayor, we'll hear from Jameson Haslam from PEG Companies, who will talk a little bit about O-zones, opportunity zones, following which Amy Fowler, the RDA board chair, we're excited to have her here with us, will speak, and then we'll hear from Micah Peters, and we'll go to that point.
Can you hear me? I'm not being Joe Cool, these are reading glasses. A little history, the big building out in front that's now Lofts, that was built by my grandfather, Aaron Kaiser, in I think the late 1880s, and was a fireproof warehouse, and it is fireproof. I think the reason they made Lofts out of it is because they couldn't knock it down, because it is solid concrete. And then next to that was Axelrad Furniture's warehouse, and then it became Western Nut. And we started out where the Salt Palace Garage is, on the second floor, and in 1946, we built this building. People say, how come you built the building in back of the other building? And I say, well, I was 7 when they had the meeting and they really didn't invite me, so it's something I had to live with but not do. And it's all kind of ironic because Aaron Kaiser was on his way to, Aaron Kaiser is my great-grandfather, he was on his way to Seattle when he got off the train and fell in love with Salt Lake, or otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd be in Seattle or maybe not at all, so that's a little bit of history. This building next to here used to be GE's, General Electric's heavy motor repair. It's our oldest building. Now that you're tearing it down, I can confess something. We put a sheeter in there, and we had to dig a pit for the sheeter, and we ran into some bones. But they were cow bones, so we threw them in the dumpster. I can confess that now. So they built it in 1947, and we moved out in 2013. So this has been my home for 48 years. And it's just a little bit emotional, so I'll let Stephen finish.
Okay, just a little brief history. Utah Paperbox is a 105-year-old company.
20 days.
In 20 days. And we could have let that go. So I'm fourth generation. My daughter is working out at Amazon. We have plans to bring her to Utah Paperbox in about 3 years. So the three of us might all get to work together, which is kind of something special. He grew up in this building, I grew up in this building, and my kids grew up in this building, and we all had different experiences. But one of my first memories of this building was coming to work with him on Saturdays. And back then, yes, you did work on Saturdays because you could only work at work. Now you can work at home. I came down and I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I wandered out in the plant and I wandered into the break room. And the break room had Playboys everywhere. So my sex ed was that break room. The women's break room was the same way. So times were different. Back then they would get their paychecks and they would go to the bank, and then they go to the liquor store, and then they'd come back to the box company and they'd play poker and drink, and then the wives would get mad at him. So a lot of memories in this building, but one of the best memories was really the Olympics. We were right in the heart of it. The FBI actually was in our upper north lot, so they gave us a van, and we carpooled all the people in, and we spent about $10,000 on Olympic tickets, and we took all our customers to the Olympics. It was a fantastic experience. A few other memories would be, before the Olympics, Gateway didn't exist, and the tornado came through, and a group of us were standing there watching it going, is that really a tornado? So anyway, we are really honored, and I want to thank the city, because the city did help do the deal that got us out of here. I'd also like to thank Rachel Sweet, who said contact the city, because they didn't, and they were sorry they didn't. And so we did a 7-year deal with the city that got us out of here. We didn't have to pay any rent for 7 years. So it gave us the time to build the new Utah Paperbox, which any of you are welcome to come by and see at some point. Anyway, I think I'm over my time limit. Again, we are honored that it's going to be called the Paperbox Lofts. You guys think it's a good thing. We think it's a super good thing. So thanks again.
Well, thank you to the Kaiser family. Such a remarkable long history with our city, and certainly you have left your mark and continue to leave your mark, which is extraordinary. Thank you to Micah and Rob and Jameson, to all of you for coming together to make something unique and special for our city. So it's not always easy to partner, and I know that. But I'm very grateful that you found a path forward, and it will benefit our whole community. So much gratitude to you. During its recent vacancy, this building has served an especially unique role as a gift warehouse when the RDA opened it up to house Candy Cane Corner, an annual holiday store for low-income families and individuals. Today, this building and space enter a new chapter. Soon, this site will be home to a number of valued amenities: affordable housing and creative parking, mid-block connections and public green space, and of course, awesome downtown live-work units. As Salt Lake City experiences a major economic and population surge, we are grateful that projects like this one are meeting the needs of our residents and businesses. We have enjoyed helping to facilitate this project and especially look forward to the way it will connect downtown to the Gateway. And with this project being in an opportunity zone, additional state and federal support will only increase the area's viability and success. The RDA, led by Danny Walls, who is here today, has spent the last 50 years working to improve livability, spark economic growth, and foster authentic neighborhoods throughout our city. Of course, Danny hasn't done it the whole 50 years, but he's been around for a little while. Projects like this one will help make our community that much better. And I'm very grateful to my internal team and to the partnership with PEG and Clearwater for creating something that supports so much of what Salt Lake City holds dear: diversity, walkability, connectivity, opportunity, economic vitality, and of course, innovation. So thank you very much for all of you coming today to support this project. I want to turn some time over to Salt Lake Council member and RDA Board Chair, Amy Fowler.
I don't know that I can reach the microphone, but I talk loud enough, so. So thank you, Mayor, and everyone for being here. You know, I never thought that I would be so interested in parking in my life. But being on the city council does strange things to a person. And now, parking and walkability take over my brain. Like, at times I don't even think about it. And that is why this project is so incredibly exciting for me. For years, the city and city officials have been looking at our parking issue from every angle. Believe me, we've parking studies and how we can be innovative and look at our parking needs for our city. But also, how do we look at the compatibility within our city? How can we actually fit our needs within our city? So again, that's why this innovative and new project is so exciting for us. You know, so the car stacking model has been on our radar for quite some time. And we are just lucky that it was also in the sights of some very creative and smart and motivated developer folks. So thank you for that. Paperbox Lofts will be the first standalone mechanical car system in Utah. This 7-level, 112 parking space system will maximize space by stacking and organizing vehicles. And I was actually just talking to Micah, and I think it's actually gonna be just really cool to watch too. So you may just find me like asking people to get their cars out so I can see all of the movement going on. Practically, this is going to be a huge space saver. But conceptually, this is a huge leap forward for Salt Lake's urban core. The shift from utilizing space to utilizing volume means everything to the density of our city's urban living and working. Plus, by breaking up this block and creating an inviting public walkway, we are creating a more accessible and walkable city, a place where everyone will want to live, work, and play. Kudos to Clearwater and PEG for bringing this innovative technology and forethought to our city. As the Redevelopment Agency Chair, I can confidently say that we are proud to be a part of such a leading edge and creative project. I also want to thank Mike Brink with City Lift. He is back there, and he flew out here from California, so if anyone has any questions about the parking and the innovation and how it all works, Mike is willing to take those questions. And thank you again for being here. I appreciate that. So thank you all. I really look forward to this project and what we're going to see here in the city. And with that, I think I'm turning the time over to Jameson.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Amy. I'll be very brief. So Mayor Biskupski mentioned briefly that this is actually in an opportunity zone. For those of you who don't know about the Opportunity Zone program, this was a bipartisan effort that was championed by a couple of sort of luminary politicians that was designed to create a really compelling incentive to attract investment to certain areas within the United States, some of them underprivileged, some of them adjacent to underprivileged areas. The Federal Budget Office estimates that between $6 and $8 billion will go into opportunity zones in the next couple of years. This site is in one of the opportunity zone areas within Salt Lake and is actually to our knowledge, the first opportunity zone deal to actually begin and start to go vertical in Salt Lake. So we're very, very excited about that, and something that will probably actually make national news and you'll see covered. This is just one of the things we wanted to say is that this is just one of at least 12 different projects that PEG and our partners are beginning in Utah, in Arizona, in other areas, in opportunity zones as we look to really take advantage of this exciting public policy, and we're excited to make the first opportunity zone project happen. Thank you.
Short mic. Thank you. Let's see if I can adjust this thing. There we go. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. The last speech I gave was dedicating a gym at Judge Memorial up on the east side, and the speaker before me was my 5'4" point guard from high school, and so there was a huge adjustment there. Anyway, my name's Micah Peters. I'm with Clearwater Homes, and I just want to thank everybody for being out here. The public sees projects of this scale when the demolition starts and the fences go up and the general contractors show up. And the true grit and work in these things is 2 to 3 years of weekly meetings for 2 and 3 hours, where you're literally on a very organic level making every single decision in the project in respect to the materials, the facade, the site plan, the colors, and everything like that. So I'm going to spend some time talking today about all the people that are involved in that, because that's been our experience over the thousands of hours we've spent curating this project. When we went to do our planned unit development application with planning and zoning, Christopher Lee of the Salt Lake City Planning Department put together quite possibly the largest staff report we've ever seen. The planning commissioners got this 120-page document, and then there was exhibits on top of that. And they're calling me going, why is this thing so complex? And I just responded. I said, there's a lot of details, and it's a super challenging property just based on its geometry and all of the utility integration with a very high density residential block. So just to comment on that, Julia Ordata, Joseph Briggs, and Derek Payne with VCBO Architecture, thank you guys for hanging in there with us on this. VCBO's creativity and attention to detail and unique thinking style on this is really going to deliver this project in a manner that's going to be a multifamily project that we haven't ever seen in Salt Lake City before. So thank you guys. I just can't tell you how much I respect you and how talented I think your organization is. Next, the mayor talked about joint ventures and how difficult they are between development entities, and it's really true. Essentially, you're trying to bring two different philosophies together and have a meeting of the minds and create a great project. I just treasure the opportunity to work with PEG Development. I can't tell you how much I respect them and how smart they are. The leader for PEG Development on this project with me was Rob Fetzer and Kyle Jardine. And gentlemen, I just think you're so fabulous, and thanks for your patience working with my organization, and I just really respect you. So just some commentary on the project. I know people have talked about the city lift component. When Kyle and I and the general contractors from Rimrock got on a plane and went out to Oakland to investigate automated parking with city lift, first of all, we showed up in Oakland and we're very impressed at how the downtown core of Oakland is developing in a really incredible manner, and there's a lot of ideas that we picked up for development in Salt Lake City. But essentially, I was concerned about the developer's perspective for automated parking, but more importantly, I was concerned about the tenant's perspective of automated parking. Do they like it? Does it function for them? Will they use it? And we talked to developers and we talked to tenants, and we left that day feeling very comfortable with the fact that this type of technology would be acceptable in Salt Lake City. In fact, the tenants preferred automated parking over some of their traditional stalls. And essentially what we've created, I call it an automobile vending machine. Instead of going to the vending machine to get some Cheetos or a Snickers, you pull up the app on your phone when you're exiting your unit, and you recall your vehicle, and in between a minute to a minute and 30 seconds, your car will be delivered to you. So we're really excited to build this project, and we're equally as excited to build the parking structure. Just a couple of thank yous. The RDA board has really hung in there with us. It's been a long project. We've been at it for almost 3 years. And I just want to thank everybody for their patience. The flexibility with Danny and Kara, and before that David Artiaga, has just been amazing. Their ability to come and meet with us as things change in a dynamic fashion and understand them and then help us integrate them into the plan. Guys, we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, Mayor Biskupski, thank you for all your support on this. I'd like to also thank Laura Fritz and just make a cautionary tale here. One of our distinctive focuses on this project is to have a really integrated approach with the local community. As I said, there's a lot of full-time residents on this block, and in working with Rimrock, we're just going to essentially work every day to make sure that the permanent residents of the block and their lives are not negatively impacted by our process. We anticipate being completed and beginning to move tenants into the project in the summer of 2021. And just want to, again, thank everybody for being here and appreciate it. Thank you.
There's a problem going after Micah. You know, what has grown out of the collaboration, you've heard a lot about it, right? You've heard about the work that's gone into this, years and years of negotiations and design and blood, sweat, and tears, has ended up being a phenomenal project. You're now going to see this site change immensely. We'll demo the buildings and we'll start construction. In a couple of years, we'll be moving new residents in. The 195 apartment units, 20% of which will be affordable housing. That's really cool, mixing those incomes. We'll have live-work units on the ground floor that'll give an affordable option for people to not have to rent a place for their business, but also rent a home. They can put it all together. And we can grow businesses that'll bless the lives of many in Salt Lake City. And it'll activate this site in numerous ways. That's really awesome. Thank you to everyone for coming and participating. I particularly want to reiterate the gratitude we have to our city. And I want to ask all of our city officials to please stand, our RDA board, our mayor, city staff, and let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you so much for your dedicated service on behalf of our city. I think you are the unsung heroes, and we appreciate you. Wonderful. Let's take out some aggression. Count it down. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Swing those hammers.